Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to another video of mine in which we talk about a very useful concept, which is a configuration package. So, up to now, we have configured a handful of things. As an IT consultant who is an expert in Business Central, you have configured chart of accounts, dimensions, dimension values, and number series. So, that is all being done in a testing environment. So as a consultant, when you're given an environment by a client who buys a license, you will be given three different environments to work with. One being the testing, which where you configure everything. Second one is the QA, and the third one is the production. So as intuitively it sounds, a testing environment is where, as a consultant, you configure everything. You spend the most time in the testing environment. You talk to the client, you get all their business processes together, and then you configure according to their business processes. Once you are finishing the sprint or the length of task that has been given up to the point where you can deliver to the client and request them to have a go and test out what you have configured so far, you will transfer all that data that you've configured in the testing environment into the QA. And that is also one part of being a consultant in which you would have to give step by step of all the tasks that you want them to do for their business model. So we will get back to that task at some point along the videos that I create. But today we're going to talk about configuration packages. So a configuration package is basically a method to move a set of data which what I have said earlier, from one environment to another. So today we're going to be kind of taking everything we've configured from a testing environment into a QA environment. So when you export setup, a configuration package will be created and it will include everything you've configured so far. So a configuration package also allows you to edit data and import that into your current system that you're working with. So in this case, you can actually import and edit things in Excel and put that back into the testing environment and it will get updated. For instance, usually the journals is a very common example that consultants give to get you understanding with the concept. So let's start with searching where the configuration packages are. So as usual, the search button is the most useful button. So we're going to go to configuration packages. In this case, I do have two configuration packages built already, but in your case, you should have an empty uh, table with a plus sign as usual. And for now, we will create a new package like this. So go to new, click new again. It's going to open up a window. We will give a code of to this. So let's see GL account, for instance, if you're going to do that. Give a package name. I'm going to keep it as is. The language ID, the different languages ID, but 1033 is English. So not something that's relevant to be honest, but it's always a good idea to just give a language ID. You can still run a package with different languages, but it wouldn't really impact your work per se. This is where you're gonna look for tables. So these are a list of tables that exist in BC, and as you can see, there's so many tables that you want to go through. But the most common ones that you would be mostly interested in will be like GL accounts, general ledger setup, customer posting groups, vendor posting groups, actually multiple different posting groups depending on who your client is. Dimensions, dimension values, and GL account categories, and etc. So even journal templates are very useful. But from experience, just I'm gonna do a GL account, which is table 15. So you write table 15, it auto populates it. Takes some time to actually get all these fields populated automatically. So let's see if I can refresh that. There we go. Now you see there's no number of package records here, but number of fields available are 41. The fields included are 41, so that means that the 41 fields that are available in that table will be imported into the QA environment. If you want to select some of the fields or deselect some of the fields, then you just click on that. It will open up another card and it will have list of things that it will be importing. You can see global dimensions are there and direct posting configuration is there. So anything that you don't want to edit list and you manually select them and deselect. So I'm gonna move on. Now what we're gonna do is click package. You can either import or you can, I guess, export in this case to Excel, save that file and run that file in a QA environment along with this package. So first I'm gonna export the package. Normally it's a good idea to validate it, but I know for a fact that validation would be okay in this case because there are no errors. This is just a GL account table. You can validate it and then you can export the package. Once you have that exported, it will be a rapid start file. And once you have the rapid start file saved in a desktop, you will go into the environment, the QA environment. You're going to hit new, or you can go to import package. Once you import the package, it will show up something like this as a GL account. You can select that, go back to process, and you apply a package. So once you apply the package, then all the configuration that is being done within the GL account, including the global dimensions, will be set up. One thing to note, the reason I picked GL account is because a lot of tables are interconnected with each other. So if you were to run a GL account card on its own, most likely the dimensions will not be populated. What I mean by that is if you go to GL setup, these things right here will be configured and populated, including the currency and everything, but these global dimensions would not be configured. So for you to actually do that, you will have to include the dimensions table in here. So that is one thing that you need to worry about. So these things will come with experience. So within this package, you would have to actually import or look at a dimension and a dimension value along with the GL account and then run that package in the QA environment and everything should be good. So with that, I will sum up what we have learned so far. Today we were talking about configuration packages and it is a very useful tool. This basically copies all your configuration from a testing environment into a QA environment. There's another method that you can use to actually copy the configuration from the testing to a QA, which is a configuration worksheet. Not a big fan of it, but configuration packages are more useful just because it has more flexibility and it has more possibilities of running, not likely running into any errors, is what I meant to say. So with that, I will move on to my next video. Hope you guys enjoy your day.